Good evening, everybody. This is Robin with another edition of Horror Pop After Midnight. And my guest tonight is writer-director M. Johnson and producer and actress who plays Poppy on Balloon Animal, Katherine Waddell. How's it going, guys?
Great. Thanks for having us.
Yes, thank you.
Thanks.
So, M, how'd you come up with the story of Balloon Animal?
It was kind of a joint thing with me and Katherine. Katherine is the one that actually approached me initially with this visual of a girl with blue hair that makes balloon animals. And we kind of didn't know where to go with that for a little while. It took us a bit of like brainstorming and going back and forth before we actually found a solid idea of a girl who grows up in the circus and then kind of goes through a crisis of whether or not she wants to stay. And we placed it in the circus because we felt that was new and fresh and something that people haven't seen before. So that's kind of the general gist of how that story came to be.
Yeah, that's how I got it too. And Katherine had a very powerful performance in the film, playing Poppy, You can tell in the film she was at the point now, she really didn't want to be part of her father's circus, and she really wanted to leave to, start her own life and her own new adventures. And you can feel the pressure between her and her father through the whole film. And the one scene that really got me was between her and Volok, where they were standing by the Ferris wheel, where she finally came up to him and said, "Hey, Dad, I don't want to do this." And then you just feel the tension between them, and you can tell they had great chemistry, on the screen, because you can feel it how they played off with each other.
Yeah, I think we made the best casting choice we could. I mean, because Katherine was already on board because it was something we were building together, so it was finding the perfect opposite. And Ilya came into the casting room with just so much of this fatherly energy and giving that stern presence. He's a big man. So he definitely holds himself as a stern and strong individual. But he really played vulnerable and just like father really well. And it was exactly what we needed in that character. And I think Poppy holding her ground against such a figure is an interesting dynamic, and also making that big figure seem so small in that moment. It was a challenge just because of his stature.
So, Katherine, how'd you love to having blue hair in a film? I've had colored hair before too. Did you have fun with it?
Guys, it was the best. I had so much fun. Actually, Em and I talk almost, I would say once a month, about whether or not I should go back to having blue hair, because it's just so much fun. I mean, like Em said, we built this from the ground up. And so it was really what do we feel like doing? What do we want to do as either a performer or a director or a writer? What do we, want to play to our strengths or have fun with, where we may not get the chance, so I was as an actor, I haven't been able to do much to my hair my whole life because you have headshots or whatever, and I was but with Balloon Animal, we can go all out. I can because it's for a movie, and no one could be upset, and so I just had a lot of fun with it.
It's fun. I've had different color hair too. I've had fire engine red hair, I've had lime green hair, I've had it all.
The upkeep is hard, though. It fades fast, but other than that, it was a lot of fun to dress and style, and yeah, I'm nostalgic for it sometimes.
Speaking of the scenes of the balloon animals, Katherine, was that you making the balloon animals, or was that somebody else when they were showing the hands?
No, we had a stunt double named Teresa from Madcap Balloons. So I learned a lot of I would say practical stuff about the balloon animal making, how to do the twists, how to fold them, how to use the pump. But it would have taken me years to become the level of expert that Poppy is when it comes to balloon animal making. So we would, film the scene or whatever. And when it came time for like the close-ups of the balloon animals, we would just pop me out and we would put Teresa in, and then she had all my costume and all that good stuff, my jewelry, and she would make it. And she's just such a lovely, like, pure soul, and we love her. And Seth, her husband, they own the company together. They're just amazing.
That's pretty cool. And at the circus where you guys filmed this at, was this like a legit carnival circus?
It is called LA Circus.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's called LA Circus. And it's basically, who owns it? What is her name?
Winnie.
Winnie
is her name.
Winnie's been in the Guinness Book of World Records for like the most circus paraphernalia ever. And I think she actually grew up in a circus, and I can't remember what she did, but she was like an invaluable resource where she taught us a lot about the day-to-day. Like if our production designer had like an idea for something, Winnie would be like, it doesn't work that way. They would never do that. They would do this instead. So it is a circus in the sense that they have a lot of stuff there that you can use, but it's also like museum.
Almost like a museum.
Yeah.
That's pretty wild.
They owned the lot, though. They owned that lot that we shot on.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's all their lot. That's all their stuff.
The Ferris wheel, all of that stuff, the tent. They've worked with a lot of big other circus movies like Water for Elephants, The Greatest Showman, American Horror Story. So we're just one little movie on their repertoire.
Yeah, Em and Catherine, when you came up with the film, when you named it Balloon Animal, tell me if I'm right about this. This is how I interpreted the balloon animal. I felt like the balloon animal was like was either between Poppy and her mother that left her, and her father was thinking of him like a balloon animal, would never let go. That's the type of premise I got off of that.
Interesting. I think we went through so many ideations on what to call the film. I think we landed on Balloon Animal because, at least for me, it's kind of a rough edge to something that seems a little more like whimsical. Normally you're going to say balloon animals. A lot of people actually get it wrong when they're saying the name of the film. They call it balloon animals as a singular thing. But when you give balloon animal a singular intonation, it just sounds a little more harsh, a little more isolated, and it kind of loses its whimsy a little bit in my mind. So you have such like a fantasy term that's kind of cut short almost with such a direct ending. Maybe I'm thinking too much into it. But, that's kind of where I went to it. But I love hearing this because I do think it's up for interpretation, the name of the film almost.
Yeah, I loved the ending because I felt Poppy, how she was feeling, right through her eyes, towards the end of the film, where, she, finally, left and was staying at this hotel. And then, she was offered, that job because she wanted to start her new life. And then she met that handsome young man as well. So you don't know where, and I love how you ended it because it could have ended anywhere. She could have maybe had second thoughts, maybe went back, or maybe she stayed with the guy she met. I just love how you left the ending open like that. It was a good, solid ending.
That's nice to hear because a lot of people don't like open-ended films. But again, I like the idea of leaving things open for interpretation, watching the movie, taking out of it what you can, and relating it to your own experience, your own life. I think it makes it really powerful if you're able to broaden that and just make as many people as possible relate to it. But yeah, I like that we don't really know where she goes. And I also think it signifies kind of what a life is. This is just a chapter of Poppy's life. So that was all we needed to see. And from then on, it's like, what do you think she does? You make up the journey now.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
No,
sorry.
Go ahead, Catherine. Go ahead. I'm just having fun.
I was just going to tell this funny story that one of the film festivals we went to, Em and I tried to go to as many as we could, and watch the movie and do the Q&As or the talkbacks or meet fellow filmmakers. And there was this usher who was, working one of the film festivals, and he did not realize that Em and I were the filmmakers. And at the end of the movie, he came up to us and he was like, "The ending was terrible. What happened? What happened to her? I need to know." And we were like, "Well, it's like open to interpretation. Like maybe she goes this way, maybe she goes that way." And he's like, "No, I need an answer." So it's really nice to get another perspective and hear that was enjoyable for you.
It was. And you guys did your job, and that's a funny story because I like films like that because I'll be sitting there going, WTF, man, come on, I want more. Is there going to be a sequel or is there going to be interpretation? I can't leave, the theater, just thinking, what's going to happen? I want more.
Yeah, I get that.
Yeah, and the cinematography I really enjoyed. Certain scenes, how you did the certain angles and shots at the circus between Poppy and her father, how you got those most intimate scenes with the cinematography. I'm a big fan of cinematography in films on certain shots and angles. I mean, you had some great angles in the film too.
Thanks. Megan Stacy, I actually found her on Instagram, and she really poured her heart and soul into the project, and I feel like we were on a very similar wavelength with everything that we were discussing prior to actually shooting the film. She's an amazing collaborator, and she has done a lot of really great work, a lot of awesome, famous documentaries as well. So I would feel very fortunate to have been able to work with her, and again, very collaborative process between the two of us.
So how did you guys come up with First Bloom Films? Is there like a story to that?
You could go, Catherine.
So Em and I had worked together for a couple of years as, on and off as creative partners. If she had a short, she would hire me to act in it, or, another feature we did called Blush, she wrote it and directed it, and I came on and produced it. So we had a couple of years under our belt of like really realizing that we worked well together, and we just sort of became close. And I always say that we became close because of our work first, more than friendship. And it just naturally led into friendship because Em and I are people who, really value our careers. And after sharing basically experiences that we had on set and in the industry, and it was, negative experiences as women, as people who were not yet successful. And we just decided, if we're going to make Balloon Animal, we might as well also make a company, right? There's logistic reasons, all of that good stuff, but it's also like, hey, like I see you as my creative partner and I want to work with you forever. And we have the same understanding and the same values and the same ideology of like what we expect or want to get out of this industry. And we already know we work well together. So it's not like, two friends waking up and decided they wanted to, start a company and it goes haywire. So we created First Bloom Films, and Emma actually came up with the name. It was also like Balloon Animal. We were looking for names for a while, but as women who were coming into the industry and hoping to blossom and also create a safe place for other women to come into the industry and blossom and say, here we are, we're talented, we are hard workers, give us a chance. It just seemed like the perfect fit.
I like that. I'm glad there's more women filmmakers out there because there's a lot of great ones out there, that, people don't really pay attention to. And then you watch the film and then you find out, oh, that was by a female writer and female director. I didn't know that. And it ends up being, pretty darn good. I mean, I give you guys kudos for, starting that production and, putting your heart and soul into all of your projects. I give you a thumbs up on that.
Thank you.
So when you guys are not like writing or filming, what do you guys enjoy doing? Do you guys have like little favorite passions of yourselves, little geeky passions or, stuff when you're not filming?
I like eating food. So anything that involves like going out for like to a restaurant, I like that. I've been getting a lot more into other art forms, expressing myself through maybe fashion, expressing myself through, I want to get into like painting and stuff like that, thrifting, just a bunch of those types of things. And I also love watching movies and TV shows. I know that sounds kind of like what everybody likes doing, but I will spend an entire evening just binge watching a TV show if it's that good. So, and I won't even miss anything else. Like, that's all I care about.
I like her. I did the same thing too. So, what's that one TV show that you have a diehard passion for? You have to binge it. It's like, I can't miss it.
It's true. I recently just watched BoJack Horseman. Okay. And that took a lot out of me. Like, if you, I will say this, if you have any sort of like fears about, you know, your future career, if you have second doubts or second guesses or doubts or anything, might not be the best show to watch. It can be really traumatizing for, you know, the smaller person to be like looking at this and being like, oh, I hope that's not me. It's a really good show though. And I also know that Will Arnett, who is the voice of that character, he based that show on his life. So very depressing to also know that this amazing actor, writer, director was dealing with that for so many years and also currently dealing with that still. So sad, but very good show, and I binged it.
What about you, Katherine?
Well, I have a very specific passion for throwing dinner parties.
Nice.
Yeah, so, you know, enjoying eating is like perfect for me. I love parties. I love dinner parties. I love creating nice tablescapes. I love the holidays, you know.
She's an embroidery collector.
I collect embroideries. Yeah, wow. I have 2 dogs who are my heart and soul and only reason for living. So, you know, I'm a full-time mom to them. Mm-hmm. And like Em, I mean, I just love TV and movies. So it's like we love to Netflix party. We love to watch something and then recommend it to each other. And then the other person watches it and then we, you know, discuss it.
We're true crime junkies too. So
true crime junkies.
Nice.
Yeah. Also like thriller and horror junkies as well. Yeah. So it's just, I would say we just like to have a good time in our free time.
Mm. So you're saying you're into horror. What was that one film that sucked you into loving horror?
Oh, wow. That's a big question.
Well, you can also, because like there are some people like who are going to be like, you know, thriller and horror are not the same.
Yeah.
And, you know, psychological and stuff. So like, you know, if getting into the layers of it, I would say what I like most is a plot twist that I don't see coming. And that's about like my threshold. If I can't figure out the plot twist in the first 5 minutes, I think it's a pretty good film.
Barbarian,
so
fantastic.
Good. So
that
good.
Plot twist, so good. Was not expecting it. The entire movie, I wasn't expecting. Yeah. It was phenomenal.
Barbarian was a wild movie. The one movie that got me for this year of horror was Terrifier 2. The Silent Mime, Art the Clown. That was a brutal film.
My friend has been telling me to watch that for weeks. And because I haven't seen the first Terrifier, but obviously I know it's a cult classic. And the guy, you know, Katherine, this guy literally spent, I think it was like $25,000 to make his second Terrifier 2. And it's made, I think, over $1 million.
Yeah. It's on every list. I see it all the time as well.
It's a classic.
I was going to say, have you watched Skinamarink?
Oh my gosh, yes I did. I went and saw it.
And what did you think?
I went and saw it at the theater. It reminded me as a little kid, you know, out in the dark. Because it kind of reminded me, because when I was little, I thought there was like dark people like staring at me, you know, like hunting me down and stuff. I kind of like how the, you know, filmmaker did it about, like, you know, kids, you know, can't find their mom and dad, it's like early in the morning, it's dark, and they're hardly awake, and you're just imagining things. But the bad thing about it is, I'm going to tell you this right now, I did not like it.
I think we all kind of agree with that, where it's like, it's new and it's different, and he definitely was taking on something that was very, very like auditory almost, where you're just like kind of throwing yourself into a child's world view, I guess you could say. But the overall effect was quite lackluster.
It was lost on
It was too long.
Oh, it was.
Yeah.
I was sitting at the theater with other film goers, and we're just sitting there going, huh?
Yeah,
we thought it was going to end at some point.
Yeah. For the last 20 minutes, but also, it was crazy. I mean, I saw that trailer first, and I texted M, and I was like, because the trailer is amazing, like the teaser. I was like, we are about to watch the scariest thing on the planet.
Well, people were comparing it to Blair Witch, and I was like, no way. Something as like I don't know, insane as Blair Witch. That was like, Blair Witch was, it like changed the game of horror. And so I was like, oh my gosh, someone found the new thing, the new horror thing. No, not for me.
Okay.
I don't think so.
Yes. Okay. One more question, you guys. Since Balloon Animal's coming on streaming, after it's shown on streaming, is it going to be coming out on disc for physical media?
We don't have any plans for it right now, but I think if the demand is there, or if the opportunity is there, we would love to do it. So I think it just depends. As indie filmmakers, we kind of have to see how this wave goes, and how long we can ride it. So if DVD or disc is in our future, we would be super happy with that.
I will too, because I support physical media.
Yeah, that's good.
Okay,
that's
so
good.
Where can everybody find you on social media, and also follow Balloon Animal?
So we have a Instagram that's like our main source of information and releasing all that, which is just a Balloon Animal Film. And Katherine and I have our personal Instagrams as well. Mine's got Emma, G-O-T-E-M-M-A. Hers is katg.waddell. And then we also have a TikTok, which is our company's TikTok, First Bloom Films. So you can find anything there. Our main source of information will be through Balloon Animal Film, though. So if you have any questions about the release date, or just if you want to learn more about the film, that's where you would find all that.
Yeah. All of our links also go up there. So like when we do interviews, that's where we put, the podcast interviews or any article, or like our website. So that's just really the best way to get the best information in real time.
And also, can they look you up on First Bloom Films for your guys' next projects as well?
Yes, we have an Instagram as well. So we're hard at work on our next movie. And that's where we would make announcements too.
We also have a website for both. So,
yes.
Sweet.
FirstBloomFilms.com or BalloonAnimalFilm.com.
All right. I had a blast. Thank you for coming on and sharing your film, Balloon Animal. It was a pleasure having you guys on. It was a blast.
Thank you so much for having us.
Thank you. And everybody, thank you for listening to